Hello Capricorn! Thank you for tuning in to your general read. For this week's read, I'm going to use Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. For supportive oracle cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. Okay, already shuffled. Let's see. Okay. One more. This is very similar to Virgo with that ending. Similar, like, it's similar. It's noticeably similar to Virgo. You might want to check out that one too. Just interesting. Coming into this situation, you're all in. All in, but you also feel very... If this is going to hit with you, you feel very respected and understood. You and whoever you're dealing with, say eye level. This is what I'm going to do. That's what you're going to do. This is how we're going to go. This is the pace we're going to take. This is how I work. That is how you work. Like, it seems like it's really good. It is the Two of Cups, which could mean, you know, a very good love connection. It's possible. But this can also come forward like in a very close friendship. Or just, it could be a very close work relationship where, you know, this person has your back and you have theirs. It could be like that, just to be fair. And one of the reasons you're feeling like this going into it is because communication, the King of Swords is between you and whatever you're dealing with, which is telling me there's a very strong air, very direct air of communication. Like, this is how it is. This is what we have. This is the plan. It's almost like it's written out. For most of you, it should be flat out written out is what I'm getting. It's right there. This is what I'm going to do. That's what you're going to do. This is the schedule. You're like, I can do that. That seems very doable to me. You have confidence that the other person is going to hold up their end as well. Because you know you will. That's a Capricorn thing. You say you're going to do something and you're going to do it. And that's just how it goes. Stereotypically, that's the Capricorn energy, just to be fair. As you keep going forward, I feel like the other side is having a hard time keeping up. They're not falling very far behind. They're not keeping up as well as you are. They have the Strength card here with the Patience. They're trying to get it together. They're working. They're having a hard time keeping up is what I'm getting. Whoever you're working with, whoever you had this agreement with, does take it very seriously what you said and what you agreed to. You seem to be doing well. I feel like you're doing quite well. They're seeming to have a hard time keeping up. With the Strength and the Patience card is like, it's really, they're having to push themselves to keep up. They really are. The Patience is kind of like, they just have to accept that they can't seem to keep up as much as they wanted to, but they're doing their best to hold that line. There is a lot of activity between you and them, a very positive thing, but I see you kind of ahead. When I'm seeing the Seven of Pentacles, it's like, I got all this done. I mean, we're not done yet. That's the Seven. Like, the Seven of Pentacles is like, we're not done yet. We're still in process of doing things. But it's like you're at a spot where you can look over at them and you're like, well, I'm where I'm supposed to be. But you're kind of also looking like they're not that far behind. And I've worked with other people who they've done a lot worse. They've done a lot worse. Other people have done a lot worse. You know this person is trying. You're seeing the effort. And I feel like that's what you like. You are seeing the effort and you're like, yeah, they're not keeping up as well as I am. But you're seeing the effort. That's making a difference. You're like, yeah, they're. I can see they're trying, and they have some shortcomings, but they're doing their best. I don't think you're saying anything about it, but you're noticing it. You are noticing it. You're not upset about it. You're not mad at it. How's that? Now, we keep going forward. Somewhere along here, I do feel like the other side is changing. There's a change. But it's open, but I'm feeling like the outcome is showing it. That's what I'm seeing. You agreed to do your side. They agreed to do their side. You're doing what was expected of you. They're changing things up. It's almost like instead of using real sugar in a pastry, they're using like a sugar substitute. It's kind of like that feeling, which some people are okay with, other people are not okay with it at all. So, and I feel like that's the difference. They're making a change here. They're doing something a little differently, but that's the difference. It's like technically it's still coming out good, but the way it's what's being used here, like for example, if you're looking for a cake made with just flat out sugar, and they use a sugar substitute, there is a difference. You can tell a little bit of a difference, and you're like, that's not how this was supposed to go. But they're kind of, in their mind, the way they're viewing it is like, yeah, but this is better, and this actually worked better for me, is why I chose it. It was easier for them to do this route. It changes the outcome a little bit, but not enough to really say it's wrong, if you know what I mean. It does come to fruition. The Four of Wands is telling me it does happen. They technically... I feel like this is hard for you to say, though. I don't feel like you feel very comfortable with it. It's kind of like you switched out that ingredient. That was supposed to be regular sugar, and you used a sugar substitute, and you're like, I'm not comfortable with that. You know, because some people aren't, for example, comfortable with sugar substitutes because they're like, well, I think that has health problems. You know what I mean? Other people are like, yeah, but it helps this. It depends on your thing. Like, that's literally the way you view it versus the way they view it. That's like the Four of Wands is telling me it is coming to a completion. It is coming to the end. They believe they've held up their end. You're kind of like, that's not the way that was supposed to go. I see you with that Page of Swords, and it's almost like it's like once the cake is made, for example, you can't take it out. The only way to redo it is to restart the situation from scratch. It's too late. And I'm seeing that with the Page of Swords on your side. Like, I'm getting, like, that's why I think we're using the sugar substitute as an analogy. Because once it's done, once the cake is made, it's like it's there, and you find out that's what's in there. You're like, what do you mean that's what's in there? Yeah, that's what I used because I thought it was a better idea, and it was actually easier for me, so I switched it. And you're like, I just feel like you're kind of stepping back, kind of like, well, it's already done now. It's not what I would chose, and that's not how I thought this was going to work out. Especially if you're a baker and you're kind of like, well, that's going to change things a little bit. That's going to, other things have to be allowed for that. I just feel like you're looking at this like that is not at all how this was supposed to work out. I don't see you completely happy with it, and I'm seeing resistance here. Resistance in the sense of like you're not happy, but it's kind of like it's what's done is done. I'm not seeing conflict cards, but I'm seeing you're leaving the situation with a bad taste in your mouth. The other side feels like it was a victory. I don't really see you saying anything, though. The other side sees it as a victory. It's kind of like, it's like, this cake was made and then it's out the door and it's gone now, and they feel like it was a victory. I just don't see you for some reason saying anything about it. It's almost like, well, I guess this is a lesson learned. I should have said must be actual sugar, or you need to tell me if you're going to change any of these ingredients. Like, maybe I should have put that in the rules. No, you're not allowed to change any of the ingredients, even to a substitute. Maybe I should have said. You got the Five of Cups. It's not a complete loss. It's not a complete loss, but you got extremes with Void. It bothers you. I just feel like it's sitting there. It's bothering you. When you look back on this situation, I feel like you're not happy with that change, and it sits with you. Ironically, you get karma here at the end, which is telling me like the other person is going to probably find this out the hard way about why making changes like that and not telling the other person. Like they didn't tell you. I feel like they didn't tell you for a reason, because they thought you wouldn't be okay with it. And that's why they kind of got away with it. I feel like they're going to experience the same thing fairly soon, where somebody else changes the rules just enough and they think it's okay, but they're not going to think it's okay. That's how this is literally ending. I really feel like it goes around, comes around. When I'm getting these three cards for you at the end, though, I feel like it's one of those things where lesson learned. I actually feel like this is benefiting you. And I know that might sound weird to start. It's almost like with this situation, you're finding out how this person's mind works and how they feel certain things are negotiable that you might not think are negotiable. And it's setting you up for the future to know these things ahead of time before the next situation comes around. And because I feel like a lot of times this person might be the one who changes things, and if they don't have to tell people they changed things and they can just kind of move on, they will do so. So this, for example, this situation is about sugar and sugar substitute. Down the road, like I've heard of other people, for example, if you're using building materials and a certain material is used because of its strength, somebody else will swap something out thinking it's fine. We'll just use this other material and it's not as strong, but they don't know that. You're finding this out now, so you know to keep an eye on this person and to watch what they're doing and watch the details, so you can make sure that when other projects come down the road, other things come down the road, you got to work with this person, you keep your eagle eye on what they're doing and what they're actually doing, and you know that, like, well, it needs to be, for example, this type of material, this type of building material to make sure the structure has enough strength to actually hold. And you know, well, you know what, I would think they would just get what I put on the list. And I impressed upon them, this is what I need. But you know what, I'm going to go and make sure, because I know they're working in that part now. Let me make sure that's the material they're using. That way there's no problems. Because I feel like that's why this is happening now. Like, this is purposefully happening. So you have this problem now. This should be this is a lesser issue. This is a lesser thing. This is just like annoying you. But that's why it's annoying you. This is why it's going to annoy you. Because when you work with this person again in the future, you have that, like, whoa, let me keep a heads up, let me keep an eagle eye on this, because if they think they can substitute something that I'm not okay with, and they don't know something that I know, is why you can't use that building material because that's not as strong as this, and this needs to hold up all this weight, especially in the future down the road. You can keep an eye on it, and you can be like, oh, no, I kept an eye on you for a reason because I know how you are, and we can fix this when it becomes an actual problem. That's why this is happening now. This is literally why this is happening now. So you can really see what this person does. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. And yes, in this situation, I do feel like they're getting away with it. But this is a heads up to you that they do this type of thing. This is, to them, they didn't do anything wrong. Literally, they don't think they did anything wrong. You're not viewing it the same way. You need to see this now. You need to know this now before it repeats later for a bigger problem later. A bigger problem that, like, once it's done, you're like, what do you mean? We built this whole house with this stuff? That's not going to withhold, like, the winds. That's not going to withhold over time. You know, it's going to make this area weak and that area weak. Like, you know this stuff. This other person doesn't know this stuff. That's why this is happening. All right, I think we're there. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope this helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.